Hello, everyone. As you know, I'm very excited about artificial intelligence tools and how to use them to speed up my research, help me with my research here at the Graduate Theological Union Library. So I wanted to share one tool with you today. It's called Inciteful. It's a way to see relevant papers based on one paper that you really like. And the way it does this is through citations, who that paper cites, and who cites that paper. So let's dive in and take a look, explore the features. All right. So at insightfulmed.com, look at the little pun they got in the name because we're getting some insight into this particular paper by looking at its citations. The two tools are to see that graph of citations. So here it wants you to put in an identifier or maybe a title of a paper so you can start to see that graph. So here are our key actions. We'll find similar papers. We'll discover some authors who are writing a lot in that field, and it's going to explore how these papers cite each other, and we can get that information pretty easily into Zotero. So down here at the bottom, you'll find another tool that I really like is the literature connector. And we'll cover that last. So I'm just going to open that up for later. All right. So there's their search bar, and I'm going to paste this identifier in and double check. Yep, this is the paper that I found. Now, this is called a digital object identifier. And if I am, say, doing a search maybe in the Berkeley Library, so here I've done a search for a particular person and I get interested in an article, this works the same in our summon search. You can get all the information about that article just by scrolling down, and you can get that DOI down there. So you find that when you're doing your big search in the library's databases, and then you can plop that number in here and you just click that result. Okay, so here's our article that we put in. It has been cited by 11 papers. Now, I can click that to come back and see, well, why is there only 11? So let's see. This has been published fairly recently. So if you ever go, wow, nobody's really cited this yet. Well, it takes a while to float around here. But this it has cited 88. Wow, he did a lot of research. It's not open access, meaning not freely available on the internet. You have to have a subscription to the Journal of Religion and Health. Thank goodness the GTU does. And it went out, and as it was searching, who did this Desmond Buhugger cite, it looked at those and then went, okay, what are the references of these papers? Or who else cites these papers? So that's how it's able to explode into over 100,000 possible papers. So, and it's telling it went like almost like a family tree, 2 degrees beyond our original paper. Okay, so we're only looking at a graph based on this paper. And as I hover over these individual dots, we can see that some of these are quite relevant, like complex moral injury in a military concept, in a context, a lot of stuff with chaplains and military. So I might go with something like therapy, not military. And it should take out some of those. Yep. But the graph changes based on the Booleans, the ands, the ors, the nots that you put in there. It'll say, oh, these papers are kind of similar. And these are really good ones. You can see when it was published, what journal it was published in. It shows the number of other papers that have cited it, how similar it ranks based on the words that it shares with our seed paper. These are the ones that are most highly cited. And these ones have so many papers listed in their references that's likely that they're a scoping or a systematic review paper. And those are really helpful when you're early on or really just starting to explore a topic. They rank top authors and bring up papers based on those top authors. And you'll see the most important research papers. But as we go further down, I really like these top journals because you may not think of some of these journals in your search, but it's nice to know, hey, I could go try to look at these journals, similar journals to, so all sorts of great lists of things to consider early on in your research process and all fairly relevant. So I've just got this one paper. I've got some interesting results coming up. What you can do is basically start your literature review. And I can go, well, some of these are still combat related, but this forgiveness and health was interesting. So if I click on it, it gives me more information about where this was. And then here is the article I started with. Here is the article that I found in the graph. And then these are the citations that they share. So I'm seeing the conversation between these two articles. So from here, I might add that to my literature review. And so then it bounces and it recommends, hey, add at least 4 of these papers. So I'm going to come back here and I'm interested that there was a connection here with these articles. So Enright, this is an ebook. I'm going to go ahead and add it to the review. Oh, and I didn't even, this is the same author just a little bit later on. So I'm kind of interested in that too. So let's go ahead and add that to the lit review. Okay, that's interesting. This is dance therapy. Okay, I'm kind of interested in that one. So I'm going to add these papers. So then you'll get a big list. So there's my original paper. And then there's all the other ones I found. And here, yeah, and then there's that other one. So then I'll see a different graph with more things to consider. Some of these may not be relevant. Oh, zoomed in so much. I'm going to bring it back and say I'm only interested in any that mention this term right here. Definitions and assessments, sure. Nursing, sure. So we'll go ahead and add these. So it's a way to get some really highly cited papers. So this has been around for a while. That's why it's been cited 300 times. This one more recent, but kind of blew up. That's interesting to know. So we got this full list. I can then save this as I would save it as this kind of file. And then it will go, hey, do you want to import these into Zotero? Okay. And then I have to be careful because I was doing some different research here with Stoicism. So I'm going to make sure to drop it into a different folder. All right, so we got those wonderful articles from Inciteful into Zotero. At this point, what you'd want to do is right-click on particular articles and hit Find Full Text to see if you can get Zotero to do the hard work for you. I've already done it for one. I've struck out on 2. The Journal of Religion and Health articles will come over, I'm fairly sure. So let's go ahead and get another win here. Great. So like with this one, you can see I've got the PDF file, this one as well with 2 burger articles. Here it is, and I can start reading and getting a sense of what's going on with his approach. highlighting, underlining, taking notes. So, really jumpstarts your research, gets these articles into your Zotero folder, and you have things to start assessing and deciding if it's really worth your time. And that's how I get the papers that I find over into Zotero. The other tool that is interesting is if you're just curious about two papers and you want to see a variety of connections in between them. So I've got a paper on clergy stress, and I want to see the connections between it and something about rural pastors here. So this should be the rural pastors one. So it found 157 papers, and there's just a direct relationship between these two. So I might extend the graph, so I'm going to activate it. And I don't know why the graph disappears there, but if you scroll down, you can see how these other articles might relate. So got this one. I'm going to try finding this book. I have to say that these are mostly good. This is a key work, so I'm glad the book came up. Sometimes it won't see books in the same way as it does articles. So for this one, they don't directly cite each other, but there's these works that exist at the intersection of these two works, and I can sort them by the most highly cited. Something that I want to cover is that when you see something that's like a review, so choice reviews, this is just a book review publication. So this is actually written by somebody else. Teaching to Transgress is a bell hooks book. Okay, Teaching to Transgress. You put part of the title in quotes, and thank goodness it'll tell you right off the bat what it is. So just be careful. Don't assume that it's an article. Do a little bit of poking around there. Same with this one. I haven't heard of this one. It's also got that choice review. So let's see what this is. So these are things I may not have known about. Wow, Chicana Sacred Space. This is really great. I'm starting to get interested in these. So, yeah, that's what is exciting when you're looking at the intersection of these two papers. So it's going through 9,000, and it found 488 paths, and it went as far as 4 hops down the line. So what that means is, okay, so somebody could have cited this, somebody else could have cited that middle paper, and then somebody else could have cited that paper, somebody else could have cited that paper, and that paper also cited this one. It kind of blows your mind the more you think about these various connections, but that's how it's able to, it's called explode or expand out to these related papers. Okay, so how do we get these lovely articles that we found into Zotero, and how do we get only the ones that we really want? You can type in your own keyword, or you can select from the keywords that they've pulled out that seem to show up the most often. So maybe I want to look for something like that, or so then it starts based on what you're typing. When you click save, you can get these over into Zotero. So let's go ahead and do that. You click the BibTeX option, and it will pop up with this reminder. Hey, do you want to get these into Zotero? Click OK. And then you have the opportunity to change where these materials get saved. But notice how quickly it got everything over. So I recommend having the folder open that you want open ahead of time because it's sometimes hard to react when it starts happening. So as you can see, I have a duplicate from my work here. So I'm going to just move that duplicate over to the trash. But it comes over, it has the information about the article. I'm going to go ahead and see if Zotero can go find the full text for me. Oh, it failed on that one. We'll try a couple of others. Oh, great. Zotero 1, I can go and take a look at this PDF that it brought over. Let's go ahead and double click. Just like that other one we did earlier, here's that PDF. I didn't have to leave Zotero. I can start reading this and seeing if it really fits with what my project is supposed to be. So with that, that's a brief overview of Inciteful and how it works with Zotero. If you have questions about the Inciteful plugin that they offer that allows you to start that graph search from Zotero, just let me know. Happy to work with you on that and explore other artificial intelligence tools with you. Just email or visit the library homepage for more tutorials. Thanks.